reading the news, and I've said it at the beginning, a person, by Dadwalji, week in, week out, month on month in, you're taken by the police authorities, harassed, and if you can tell us, Punjabi de vich, and then I will ask Sarabjit Singh to translate it and also address the meeting here. And we have Amnesty International and Liberation and Punjabi Human Rights Internet, and they want to know, because they know the facts, but you have your chance to tell us about the voice of Punjab today and the turmoil it's in. ਹਾਂਜੀ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੋ ਕਿ ਆਪਣਾ ਅੱਜ ਤਸ਼ੱਦਦ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹ ਦੱਸੋ।
ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਸਤਿਕਾਰਯੋਗ ਗੁਰੂ ਕੇ ਸਾਜੇ ਨਵਾਜੇ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਅਤੇ ਸਤਿਕਾਰਯੋਗ MP ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਨਾਜ਼ਰ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਸਾਰੇ ਗੱਜ ਕੇ ਫਤਿਹ ਬੁਲਾਓ। ਆਖੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਲਾਮੀ ਦਾ ਸਾਹਮਣਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ, ਇਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਲੁਕੀ ਛਿਪੀ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਪੂਰੇ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਨੁੱਖੀ ਅਧਿਕਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਦਿਨ ਦਿਹਾੜੇ ਡਾਕਾ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ, ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਢਾਏ ਗਏ, ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਬੀਬੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਹ ਕੇ ਸ਼ਹੀਦ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ, ਬੇਕਸੂਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੜ ਕੇ ਝੂਠੇ ਮੁਕੱਦਮੇ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਜੇਲ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੰਦ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ, ਔਰ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬੇਕਸੂਰ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਫਾਂਸੀ ਦੇ ਫਤਵੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ। ਸਰਦਾਰ ਬਲਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਰਾਜੋਆਣਾ, ਸਰਦਾਰ ਦਵਿੰਦਰਪਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਭੁੱਲਰ ਅਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ। ਅੱਜ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਕੇਸਰੀ ਲਹਿਰ ਦੇ ਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਸਮੁੱਚਾ ਸਿੱਖ ਪੰਥ ਇੱਥੇ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੀ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ MP ਸਾਹਿਬਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਨੁੱਖੀ ਅਧਿਕਾਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਘਾਣ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੁਰਧਾਮਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਜਾਣ 'ਤੇ ਵੀ ਪਾਬੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਦਿਨੀਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਗਿਆਨ ਗੋਦੜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਹਰ ਕੀ ਪੌੜੀ, ਹਰਿਦੁਆਰ ਉੱਤਰਾਖੰਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰਪੁਰਬ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਮਨਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਅਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਅਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਥੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੈਂਕੜੇ ਦੀ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗ੍ਰਿਫਤਾਰ ਕਰਕੇ ਉੱਤਰਾਖੰਡ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੇ ਗੁਰਪੁਰਬ ਮਨਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਪਾਬੰਦੀ ਲਾ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਔਰ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹਰਾਸਮੈਂਟ ਦਿੱਤੀ। ਆਏ ਦਿਨ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਵੀ ਭੁੱਲ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਕੁ ਵਾਰੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਗ੍ਰਿਫਤਾਰ ਕੀਤਾ, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਕੁ ਮੁਕੱਦਮੇ ਦਰਜ ਕੀਤੇ, ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਤਸ਼ੱਦਦ ਕੀਤਾ। ਆਏ ਦਿਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਤਸ਼ੱਦਦ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਅਸੀਂ ਜੇ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ, ਆਪਣੀ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਰਾਈਟ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ, ਮਨੁੱਖੀ ਅਧਿਕਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨੂੰ ਜੋ ਤਬਾਹੀ ਦਾ ਸਾਹਮਣਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਿਆ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆ। 20ਵੀਂ ਸਦੀ ਦੇ ਮਹਾਨ ਸਿੱਖ ਸੰਤ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਜਰਨੈਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਭਿੰਡਰਾਂ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਜੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਪੰਥ ਦੇ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ, ਕੌਮੀ ਘਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ, ਸਿੱਖ ਰਾਜ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਅਤੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵਾਕਿਆਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਦੀ ਲੰਘਣਾ ਪਿਆ, ਤਬਾਹੀ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਹ ਕੇ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਗਿਆ। ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਵੀਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅੱਜ ਕੇਸਰੀ ਲਹਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਮਨੁੱਖੀ ਅਧਿਕਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ 1,18,000 ਦਸਤਖਤ ਕਰਕੇ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੀ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ MP ਸਾਹਿਬਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਸੌਂਪਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਆਏ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਧੱਕੇਸ਼ਾਹੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀ ਧਰਤੀ 'ਤੇ, ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੀ ਧਰਤੀ 'ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਆਪ ਸਾਰੇ ਭੈਣਾਂ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਦੀ ਵਧਾਈ ਦਿੰਦਾ, ਮੁਬਾਰਕ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਕੇਸਰੀ ਲਹਿਰ ਦੇ ਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀਆ ਸ਼ਲਾਘਾਯੋਗ ਉਪਰਾਲਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਪੱਧਰ 'ਤੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਧੱਕੇਸ਼ਾਹੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਨਸਾਫ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਸਿੱਖ ਇੱਕ ਅਮਨ ਪਸੰਦ ਕੌਮ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਦੀ ਛਤਰ ਛਾਇਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੌਮ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਰ ਸਮੇਂ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦਾ ਭਲਾ ਮੰਗਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ, ਤੇਰੇ ਭਾਣੇ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦਾ ਭਲਾ। ਉਸ ਕੌਮ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਧੱਕੇਸ਼ਾਹੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉਸ ਕੌਮ ਦੇ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ, ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਦੇ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ, ਮਨੁੱਖੀ ਅਧਿਕਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਡਾਕਾ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ। ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਇਨਸਾਫ ਲੈਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬੜੇ ਅਮਨ ਪਸੰਦ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲਹਿਰ ਆਰੰਭੀ ਗਈ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਬੁਲੰਦ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ ਕਿ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਨ, ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪੰਥ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਏਕਤਾ ਇਤਫਾਕ ਦੇ ਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨੁੱਖੀ ਅਧਿਕਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜੂਝਦਾ ਰਹੇ। ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਪੱਧਰ 'ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੀਏ। ਜੋ ਧੱਕੇਸ਼ਾਹੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੀ ਧਰਤੀ 'ਤੇ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਸਤਿਕਾਰਯੋਗ MP ਸਾਹਿਬਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ MP ਸਾਹਿਬ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਮਾਈ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ, ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਸੇਵ ਮਾਈ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਰਾਈਟ। ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਨੁੱਖੀ ਅਧਿਕਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਡਾਕਾ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਨਸਾਫ ਦਿਵਾਇਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੇਕਸੂਰ ਸਿੱਖ ਜੇਲ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ, ਭਾਰਤ ਦੀਆਂ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਜੇਲ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਬੰਦ ਨੇ, ਫਾਂਸੀ ਵਰਗੀਆਂ ਸਜ਼ਾਵਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਾਹਮਣਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਿਹਾਈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਸੰਭਵ ਹੋ ਸਕੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਫਰੀਡਮ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਸੰਭਵ ਹੋ ਸਕੇ। ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਆਪ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦਾ, ਕੇਸਰੀ ਲਹਿਰ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦਾ, ਸਤਿਕਾਰਯੋਗ MP ਸਾਹਿਬਾਨ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਫਤਿਹ ਬੁਲਾਉਣਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Baba Dadwal is talking about coming from a country where daily looting is taking place of our temples, killing of innocent people, regardless of their age, gender. They talk about how prominent Sikhs like Bhai Bullard and Bhai Rajwana are, we still don't know what their fate is, and they could be put to the death. There's gross violations of human rights, and most recently arrest of thousands of Sikhs, including Baba Dadwal, as they approach Hardwar to celebrate Guru Nanak Dev Ji's anniversary. Harassment, and I think they themselves have lost count of how many times they've been arrested. And for them to be a prominent member of the Sikh community, we can imagine what then happens on the grassroots level. They've had to face, and they talked about another prominent leader of the Sikh community, Sant Janel Singh Khalsa, Brindaramwale, for somebody who advocated human rights. For advocating human rights, they had to face the might of the Indian Armed Forces. And they've also then thanked the Kesri Lehar campaign, along with the MPs, for not only attempting to highlight what's going on in India, but also to try and prevent it. They also thanked the Kesri Lehar and the MPs for trying to take this on an international level, and they've made a heartfelt plea from themselves for saving their own human rights. And I think they've thanked everybody, and it's important that everybody stays united on this cause, regardless of what religion or culture you belong to.
Thank you very much, Sarjeet Singh. Thank you. I don't know if you want to.
Let me respond to that. The next steps forward. What we've been able to do. What we've been able to do time and time again is that where there are individual instances of where human rights abuse have taken place, any individual particular abuse that takes place goes unreported. So again, what we'll be doing in this coming period, as we have done in the past, is where we receive examples of arrests and detention and other forms of abuse, because one of our big concerns, as I said before, is what happens in detention, and there has been a large number of deaths in detention as well as physical abuse, that we use this Parliament here to record that, to bear witness to what's happening, so the world can know, and India can know in particular, that we're watching, that these will not go unnoticed. That's the first thing. The second thing is, having recorded those instances, is to demand change, at every opportunity we possibly can. And that includes putting pressure on the UK government to be firm with India, and to say we have a relationship over centuries, but we have a particular modern relationship of trade. Why are we engaged in these various treaties with someone who's abusing human rights? And again, put economic and political pressure on India to come into line, And what that means is, yes, abolishing the death penalty, but it also means respect for human rights. Now, one of our campaigns, working with Amnesty International, is simply to get the UN rapporteur on torture to be allowed to operate within the Punjab. That was one of our basic requests, and again, denied time and time again because of the cover-ups that went on. So again, what we'll be trying to do is to bear witness, to expose, to lobby for change, but to use whatever pressure we can from the UK government to enable that to happen. In addition to that, there's other ideas of how we continue this campaign beyond petitioning, meetings across the country, but also us sending possibly a delegation of MPs in the new year, again, to say we want to establish what the evidence is and report back and prepare a report independently as a group of MPs. And of course, we'll be seeking the cooperation of state and national government on that, and see whether or not the Indian government is willing to respond to that challenge of having an independent review of what's happening. And again, it's maintaining that pressure. It's called solidarity, isn't it? It's called solidarity, how we work together in support of one another. And that's exactly what the commitment will give to our brother here. And I'm glad he's travelled on this special day, the day of International Human Rights Day. It's significant that we have a person who's reporting back from what's happening on the ground. But I give that commitment. We will continue to work in that way to expose, bear witness, put pressure, and seek change. This isn't about a one-off day lobby. This is about a long campaign that we continue on until we secure what? Until we secure justice, because that's all we're asking for. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John.
When we talk about a faceless war, it's a war that doesn't really have any bullets. It doesn't have any bombs or tanks. Paramjit Singh's talked about the custodial killings, the disappearances in Punjab. And we know that we've lost a lot of our people in Punjab because of these policies of the government, through the National Security Act, through TADA, through the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. They've allowed to kill many Punjabis in Punjab, and nothing's been done about it. But with India wanting to come into the 21st century as a democratic nation, they can't be seen to be killing people all the time. So although the guns have fallen silent, the massacre, in my opinion, continues. And this massacre is even more deadly than the one that has bullets, because it's something that can't be seen, it's not tangible. And I'm just going to quickly, we haven't got much time, so I'm going to discuss some of the aspects of this faceless war. The first aspect is farmer suicides. Now, Punjab's, as Bhutta Singh has talked about, Punjab's economy, it's been crippled. We're an agrarian state. We rely heavily upon agriculture, yet the government have done nothing for our farmers. They're crippled by debt, and from the year, if we talk about, we have all our MPs here today. If we talk about modern day, and we often harp on about 84, this happened. Let's just look at the modern day. From 2000 to the year 2010, almost 5,000 farmers have committed suicide. That's a rate of almost 2 farmers every 3 days. Now, if we look at this country, if we had a couple of farmers who committed suicide because of certain policies of the government, there'd be action groups, there'd be committees to support them, they'd be looking at why is this happening. Yet 5,000 Punjabi farmers have committed suicide. Not a single support group has been set up. No one's looked into why this has happened. Why are these farmers crippled by debt? Why aren't they allowed to diversify what they make? Why isn't there another industry they can go into if farming's not doing anything for them? So we may not necessarily say the Indian government have deliberately made Punjabi farmers commit suicide, 5,000 without a single bullet being fired, but neglect can be as bad as being a deliberate policy. Now, we can argue that the Indian government, they've just neglected Punjab. But if you neglect for long enough, it turns into chronic neglect. And chronic neglect can turn into policy. And what's quite ironic about the situation is that the person who's in charge of India, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, is a world-class economist. Are we supposed to believe that a world-class economist doesn't know how to sort the economic situation out in Punjab and save these farmers? So that's one aspect. A lot of these farmers also, they're illiterate. The literacy rates in Punjab aren't as high as the rest of the country. So that's another aspect. A second aspect is female feticide. Now, the 2003 data suggests that Punjab has the lowest sex ratio in India. So for every 1,000 boys, there's 700 girls. Now, we could argue that it's up to the woman who goes to the doctor in the hospital to get an abortion. But the question we ask is, why is Punjab littered with illegal and private ultrasound clinics and abortion clinics? Why? Why does Punjab have so many of these private hospitals that do these kind of abortions? It's in essence taking away a whole generation before it's being born. And these are future mothers of Punjab. We're already in a deficit as it is, and we're losing even more generations before they're born. So that's a question that, you know, we ask. And again, I'm not saying India has been deliberate, but it's something to think about. A third aspect is the problem of alcohol and drugs in Punjab. Now, recent studies from the New York Times suggest that 70% of Punjab's youth are hooked on drugs. Now, we could then suggest that it's the individual that takes the drug. The Indian government doesn't come with its big bad hand and shove drugs or inject a needle in someone's body. But what situation is created in Punjab where youngsters like us, like the people who are sitting here, turn to opium, which is freely available, which is then turned into heroin? Why are there so many private chemists that supply synthetic drugs to armed Punjabi guys who can't afford heroin? Yeah, it's something that's plaguing us. And the problem in Punjab is, and again, I'm not saying that the Indian government are being deliberate, it's for people to make their own minds up. But why are there 8,000 government-owned liquor stores in Punjab and only a handful of rehabilitation centres? There's more government-owned liquor stores in Punjab than there are government-owned schools. So this is when I talk about a faceless war. Let's look at the water situation. Punjab is the only state in India that is suffering from uranium. People are getting cancer from uranium in the water. This uranium has come from power plants like in places like Bathinda, where the uranium is allowed to seep into Punjab's drinking water. Now, we have an 18% rate of cancer higher than any other state in India. Yet how much is being done to combat this? How much awareness is being made about using pesticides? These normal farmers, they don't know about pesticides, they don't know about fertilizers, they don't know what they're doing to their own land and water when they're using it. There's no education of this. Again, I'm not saying that there's a deliberate policy, but neglect can be as bad as this deliberate policy. So we've got cancerous water, we've got female feticide, we're littered with drugs and alcohol. And the problem is that the plush and lush fields of Punjab, under the lush fields of Punjab is a very tragic story. And we've got young guys who are huddled in little corners in Punjab, and we were once the brave soldiers of Punjab, huddled in corners taking black balls of opium. And rather than bettering themselves, bettering society, educating themselves, all they can think about is where am I going to get the next fix from? And none of these problems are being combated by the Indian state. So although we have had many of our people killed innocently throughout the decades, we can't afford to just become never forgetters and commemorators, and we say never forget 84. The war is still raging, and we cannot be duped by going to Punjab and not seeing tanks and not seeing army personnel and thinking Punjab is now at peace. Punjab is still going through this war, and it's a tragic war because many people can't actually see it. Until we can wake up and with the help of our MPs and everybody together, perhaps we can save this land. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarbjeet Singh. Now, we have many friends amongst us. Right Honourable Nicky Morgan from Loughborough, Emma Reynolds from Wolverhampton North East, and my own friend and MP, Right Honourable Seema Malhotra. They are going to be in room number 14. Other MPs are there, so do please support them because they've taken out the time. So if I can please ask you, Nikki, please, if you could follow that on and your response to some of that.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much indeed. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, my name is Nicky Morgan. I'm the Member of Parliament for Loughborough, and I'd like to thank particularly those of you from Leicester and Leicestershire who have invited me to come and see you all this afternoon. I think for me as a Member of Parliament, listening to the speech just now was very powerful. And that's what this afternoon is all about, is about Members of Parliament being educated about the problems that are happening in the Punjab, that have happened for many years, that are continuing to happen. India is a very important country for Britain, and all Britons, not just people who have lived in India, whose families come from India, but for all of us. India is an important country for trade, it's an important country for us to support. We have a great affinity with India because of our history and our backgrounds together. I think this afternoon, just listening, I'm sorry that I can't stay for too long, but I hope, as you have said, Mr. Chairman, that just having a lot of Members of Parliament here, dropping it in, just demonstrates to you how seriously we take these issues, the representations that we will make to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office at the request of you as our constituents to make sure that the British government is well aware of these problems and does everything that it possibly can to help to tackle them. I think it would be fair to say that not every problem can be solved overnight. Clearly some of these problems are entrenched and very long term. But without you shining a spotlight here in Westminster to members of Parliament, to the British government on these issues, then they won't be raised up the political agenda. And without them being raised up the political agenda, then we can't hope to tackle them. So thank you very much to all of you for travelling to Westminster this afternoon, for taking the time out to brief members of Parliament. And I'm sure that this is just the start of a long and hopefully ultimately successful dialogue.
Definitely. Thank you very much, thank you again, Nicky Morgan. MPs are extremely busy, and we thank you for your time. And it's a cross-party campaign.
Absolutely.
And we have Conservative MPs, Liberal Democrats, and SMPs and Plaid Cymru members. So thank you very much. And I don't know if you've got time to meet some of the delegates.
I shall pop into 14.
In room 14. Thank you very much.
Lovely.
And
thank you.
I think Emma's...
She was
I did, yeah. And so I've got a list of MPs coming up. So, Seema, I can't hold you waiting because we get told off, especially in Heston. And as a Punjabi yourself, I think we're all sitting up thinking, what is this system of Punjab going to do for us in Parliament? Please, your response to the human rights campaign, the Kesri Lehar campaign, and it's wide in itself. It's not just the death penalty, it's that faceless war, it's an economic war. Table's yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all of you who have come today. Sat Sri Akal to all of you. And I think I have probably had a history over the last, I think this week is the anniversary of my first year as a Member of Parliament, I will say as well. Thank you very much. And certainly over the last year, I have been regularly in touch with many of you in the community through the Gurdwaras, through other campaigns, just through often the Labour Party as well, for those that have been involved with the Labour Party. And what has been outstanding about the Kesri Lehar campaign that is based in my constituency in Hounslow is that it has been something that has united so many across the country and has been a campaign that's been conducted with great dignity and with great thought about the change that everybody knows that we need to see. Again, not just on the death penalty in India, that for someone like me who has always been against the death penalty in any country has been very happy to support. But I think in terms of some of the other issues that have been raised that are really looking at issues in the Punjab, but also issues facing the Sikh community more generally, these are areas across different policy areas that we need to come together on. The environment, so often talked about, protecting the environment, access to water, access to resources, all of those things that are going to keep a good quality of life for the current and for future generations in the Punjab. Peace will only be kept when we are investing in the peace and we are investing in the future. We know there are serious health issues as well that have been discussed, and also the high cancer rates that there are in the Punjab. Also, those health issues need to be effectively tackled and health invested in, and to make sure that we are seeing all of that happening effectively. And we know that here we can make a difference because it's our families that also live in the Punjab. And some of these issues are issues that Britain and India can work on together and must work on together. We are in a new space now where we are saying, what is the next generation relationship between Britain and India? For those that, like me, that were born here in Britain, but still have our sense of heritage and still have our sense of responsibility to our families and to our friends around the world, and how we can work together intergenerationally to say that we want the very best of access to education, to human rights, and also to good health for all of our communities across the world. I know there is a lot to do. There is a lot to do here with the Sikh community here. There is a lot to do in the Punjab. Next year I will be starting also a public health campaign, heart disease, diabetes. We know alcohol that's been raised here as well, drug abuse. I'm on the board of a charity that is looking at drug and alcohol abuse, and my personal view has been that it has been not talked about enough in the way that it is affecting the younger Sikh generation. And the damage that the younger generation do to their bodies when they are young affects them much when they are older. You know, when they are older, when they are settled in their families, when they have children. And there is something very important about saying to our younger generation that we want you to live healthily, because that investment you make when you are young will be the health that you have when you are older. We have seen today as well Fauja Singh Ji being here with us, and there is someone who is 100 years old running marathons. You do that because you have the very best of principles and health when you are young. There is much to do, and I'm glad that we have such a strong community and that we are able to do that across the community and working with our partners in politics. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's lovely when you see local friends, and Seema is a friend. And it's lovely to have a Punjabi friend in Parliament. The issue is not just about Punjab, the Kesri Lehar issue. It's the 1.2 billion people plus in India who are being systematically abused. And we have our friend, the Christian groups, the Dalits, the Muslim groups, they're all being represented, but I know MPs are eager to get away, but thank you for your time, Emma. Where there's a large group of people from Wolverhampton here. Hope you've had the opportunity to meet them. Would you like to give us your responses to what you've heard?
Sure. Firstly, just to congratulate you on such a successful lobby of Parliament, and to welcome you all here. Obviously, a particular welcome to those from Wolverhampton. I am a Wolverhampton MP, but all of you who've come from different cities and towns and villages from across the country. And I just wanted to say a few words about human rights in India, and also take the opportunity, if I can, just to thank the Sikh community in Wolverhampton and across the country for the contribution that you make to our society. Since I got elected in 2010, I have been warmly welcomed by the Sikh community to attend events and speak at different gurdwaras across the city of Wolverhampton. So I wanted you to know that I take the concerns of the community incredibly seriously. And I know that one of your main messages today is about the calling for the abolition of the death penalty in India, and I fully support you in this campaign. I have written to the Foreign Secretary several times calling for him pressure on the Indian government. I've also written to the Indian High Commissioner in London to ask why it's still the case that the death penalty exists in India. I think in a world in which the size of your economy and the size of your population matters more than ever before, and in a global economy and in a world in which India is only going to become more important in terms of its power in the world. I was just in the room with the group, and one of the speakers said that India would like to have a position on the Security Council. If India is to be granted that level of power, and I have no objection to that, but if that is to be the case, India also needs to assume responsibilities with regard to the equal treatment of minorities, to the protection of human rights, and also I firmly and passionately believe in terms of the abolition of the death penalty. I am proud of the fact that in the UK we don't have the death penalty. I don't think there's any room for the death penalty in a truly civilised society. We all have our own problems. In the UK, I'm not saying the situation is perfect, by the way. There are certainly cases of human rights abuses, and I think that's regrettable. But on this particular issue of the death penalty, I think it is something that the Indian government, if it so desired, could make a real difference on today, not tomorrow, not further on in the future, but today. And I, for that reason, welcome you in terms of your campaign and your lobby here in Parliament today. I think it's incredibly important, and certainly as a shadow Foreign Office Minister in Labour's team concentrating on foreign policy, it's something that we are acutely aware of and working very, very hard on to make sure that our government, in all of its meetings with the Indian government, puts this right on top of their agenda. Thank you. I haven't got one yet, but when I do, I will be in touch. Thank you.
Emma, thank you very much. Just sitting here, I could sense not just the sincerity, of course there is, it's that immediacy that you're talking about. And as a senior member of government, it's great that you're with us. And the people here, we've waited too long, and nothing's changing. And maybe we need to change tact. I don't know. You're the experts. You're the politicians. I'm a layman. I'm a primary school teacher. We all do ordinary jobs here. And it's really in your hands. And it's you that are taking the voice of the 118,000 people that represent this petition now. Do you take that responsibility?
I absolutely do. I think we've each got our own role to play, whatever our position is in society, whichever profession we have, to continue to put pressure on. And that's why I think the fact that you have organised such a successful lobby today and such a big petition shows the strength of feeling of the community. And also, as a shadow minister rather than a minister, I think it's very, don't worry, you're not the first. Hopefully come out of the shadows sometime soon, maybe 2015. But I think it's incredibly important that the government appreciates the very strength of feeling that you have represented here today on this issue. So they can't say, oh, we thought it was one issue amongst many. No, it's not. It's a priority for the community, and therefore it should be a priority in our foreign policy. Come 2015, and I don't want to make a political statement, but come 2015, it's possible that we might be in government, and if so, I hope to be a minister in the Foreign Office. And I make this commitment to you today that if I do become a minister in the Foreign Office, this will certainly be on top of my list of priorities.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The afternoon is packed with political speeches and then raw speeches of pain and the hurt. And I think we did say the sincerity of the speakers and the friends we have, and there's none more sincere than Dan Jones from Amnesty International. And when I invite Dan Jones to speak now, I would like Darbar Singh, if you could also come here. I think there's things that we need to let the people know, the Punjabi brothers and sisters that are here, of the fantastic work. We have got Veer Dabinderjeet Singh here. We have got Banji here. I've got lots of names here. Hopefully we're going to try to knit you in. And we've also got very patient Maggie Bowden from Liberation. And Maggie's going to be telling us how her work has been taken through the process all the way towards the United Nations, and how we're going to take this further to the United Nations. I'm not the expert, so we'll have to listen to them. Dan, thank you for your patience. Thank you very much. Dan Jones.
Dear friends, it's great to be at an event like this on this particular day, on the day remembering when the very junior embryo United Nations passed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights back in 1948, on this very day. My organisation, Amnesty International, is based on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the human rights that belong to all of us, and we fight to defend those rights and fight for those whose rights are denied across the world as an organisation. Now, I'm a substitute speaker. My colleague, who I thought was going to make a great oration, isn't here, so I'm very much a deputy stand-in. Okay. But never mind, I will do my little bit in my 4-minute speech. I worked for Amnesty and indeed with Iqbal for 20 plus years, more than that. And Iqbal thrust in front of me a case we worked on together of a disappearance, a famous case. My 20 years in Amnesty have been full of campaigning issues in many, many countries, but including India on a regular basis. Major concerns that we work together on the whole pattern of disappearances, over a long period in the early 90s, something I wished had stopped in India and has not stopped. The whole area of imprisonment without trial, without proper legal processes, TADA and all that other emergency legislation, locking people up without a chance to speak through the legal process. We've been, of course, Amnesty International would, but for years and years and years, for us, the death penalty is a very important issue, and I'm very delighted that that's very high on the agenda in your appeal of work that you're going to do. When I was a kid growing up, we had executions in Britain, and now we're in Britain that doesn't do it anymore, in the Europe that doesn't do it anymore except for Belarus, and increasingly in a world where less and less countries are involved in execution. But I'm pleased that's high on your agenda. I'm concerned to find that India still has not ratified major international human rights treaties, something very, very bad, a thing that shouldn't arise, that shouldn't be happening anymore. And those were major things that I was thinking about immediately. One of the very early pieces of work I was involved in when I started working with Amnesty was torture, the whole phenomenon of torture, and appalling patterns of torture coming out of reports of what was going on in India. Sadly, torture didn't stop, it hasn't finished. We're still getting, alas, massive reports of that particular pattern of human rights abuses. So this is a quickest of scampers through some of the issues that day by day, week by week, Amnesty is faced with, not in just in the whole of India, but in Punjab. And yes, so I'm delighted with your campaign. I'm delighted with this massive turnout and the huge petition, and I'm very pleased that all this action is happening.
It's really the work of amazing NGOs and organizations like Amnesty International that actually bring the whole case of human rights on the global scene. And I've asked Dan if he wants, in room number 14, we have all our campaigners there, and it would be fantastic if some of our Punjabi brothers or sisters, we all can't do it. If you can devote your life to Amnesty International, you will feel that you are doing seva. Please do donate. Please do support them. Dan, you've been very patient and sat here. I would like you, I'm not pushing you out, but I would like you to go into room number 14, and if anybody wants to put their name forward, take Dan's experience and work from it. The next generation needs to do this. As you can see, most of the panelists are here, are quite old, including myself. So thank you very much, Dan. Darbasing, did you want to add something?
Not really, just
He's whispering in my ear, but I didn't hear what he said.
Right.
So very important.
Do you want to add something?
I think I should thank Dan Jones and Amnesty International. They had, because there's so much disinformation that nothing happened before. But it was mid-90s when Amnesty International, first Amnesty International group report came in 1986. We provided the information that was known as Jodhpur Detainees Report. That was the first group report by Amnesty International in 1986.
Jodhpur jail wale jehde si.
Yeah, Jodhpur 379 detainees in Jodhpur jail. Harmandir Sandhu, General Secretary of All India Sikh Student Federation, he smuggled all the information from jail to us, and we gave it to Amnesty International, and that was the first report printed. And the other disinformation is nothing happened. And if you, Drar has got newspapers, he brought it, but security people kept it. No, security people kept it there. Full page advertisement. Independent, Guardian, and all major full-page advertisement by Amnesty International. Punjab, it was international campaign against torture,
political disappearances, etc., etc., 1 year campaign. And it was Punjab, it was with Harjeet's photo behind the bars, disappeared. That was the campaign which focused on, main focus was on Punjab. It was international campaign. So can you imagine full page in Guardian, Independent, how can we pay that one? And Amnesty International, Liberation took 3 times case to Geneva, United Nations Human Rights Commission and Subcommission. We didn't pay a single penny to Amnesty International or Liberation, and we didn't collect any money from Gurdwaras. And this is how you have to know how to work within these organizations, and you have to work with them and have credibility with them that you believe in human rights. You have to believe and practice human rights, not just show that we are very human, and then people don't believe. You get exposed after some time. Kanita Karni, yeah. So it's that, and then this Harjeet Singh campaign, importance is that I think it's 17 people, police officers were convicted, went to jail, some died in jail, then they were bailed out, and now present, they were given all their expenses and they are promoted. And we are going to start then that same campaign, Harjeet Singh campaign, because 17 people were convicted, went to jail. They are now on high posts. So this is how that system works. We have to expose system, and I think it is you, not me alone. And you have collected these 118,000 signatures, you, Paji, and whole Paji, but there is driving force, and so it's a team, not you. When I say you, it's not you, it's a team, it's all the people, I mean by you. So we collectively have to move forward. We will not wait till we get justice. Because, see, people, Hillsborough football disaster, people were blamed for so many things that they urinated on the police officers. They did this, they did that. Then Bloody Sunday, 13 innocent people were killed here. And then those innocent people were blamed that they had arms and they shot at the police. Now, after 25 years, they have got justice. And it's Mandela, he was in jail for 28, 30 years. And after that, they got justice. And it was Mandela who had this Truth and Justice Commission and brought peace to the South African country. And all these Western countries, they were helping apartheid regime. And then they had to change under the pressure of the public and international opinion. Pinochet of Chile, he was friend of the Western governments. He was very powerful. At the end, our friends, Amnesty International, Jeremy Corbyn on the political side, they led that campaign to arrest him. And he was arrested here. First time he ran away from here, then he ran away from Holland, in spite of the United Nations request to arrest him. So eventually he was arrested here, and you know his end. So we will not rest till we get justice for our sisters, our brothers, and redress from them. But up to you. It's up to you. You have to take it further. It's not collecting money, and it's not collecting, it's your will that will take us further. And you have seen the support, 65 members of parliament, lords coming here, and sharing your platform, sharing your concern, your sufferings. So we have to get them moving and get support from them, because we are victims. We are victims, we need justice, and we shouldn't be, sometimes we do it wrongly, and we fall in the trap of our enemies. So we have to be careful, not diverted. That is, Paramjit will say so many times, don't get diverted, focus, and I respect him. I respect our young brothers, Sarbjit and Mukhtar, Bhutta Singh, and they will take the movement further and further, because we are, you youngsters here, so many, that's our future. Because you have got social media now. That is good thing. Nobody can control us now. You are controlling yourself now. The movements in Middle East, The governments controlled their media and stopped the all broadcasting, etc. But social media created movements. You will create a movement for justice and for redress. And we are with you. Thank you.
I think it will be unjust if I don't ask Maggie Bowden to address the meeting now. I'm feeling that I'm violating
the General Secretary of Liberation, and I wouldn't have dared not come to this meeting because Iqbal would have given me a good thrashing, I think. Since the 1980s, Liberation has campaigned for democratic and human rights of the Indian minorities, and in particular on behalf of the Sikhs, the Dalits, the Muslims, and the Christians. Further, we have raised in the UN a concern about the atrocities committed in Manipur, Assam, Tripura, Kashmir, and other states, but to no avail. We continuously go to the UN, and we've traveled there 3 times with Iqbal, who attended the UN Commission, and the sub-commission in Geneva, and his first attendance with us was in 1991. Now, I am concerned that the Sikhs are still waiting for justice and redress from the victims of the 1984 Sikh massacre, which is a disgrace. Bulla and Bulwark's Rojana and others are suffering degraded treatment and the threat of death penalty, which daily hangs over their heads. We raise these issues at the UN, but we have silence from the UN representatives and government there. Liberation and others have been endeavouring to persuade the Indian government through the UN to release Bulla and others and abolish the death penalty, but to no avail. And it's not only us, it's the High Commission, all sorts of people who go from the UN and don't get any response from the Indian government at all. How can the Indian government sit at the UN ignoring the Universal Periodic Review reports? 2 lots have been produced, and they, knowing what the atrocities are and carried out in India, without addressing the problem and rectifying it by not addressing the UN Charter. We have all tried to persuade the Indian government to remedy the wrongs, but to no avail. I have got a list here of speeches and since 1993, 50, all about the UN, about India, sorry, and no response, silence, as if we didn't exist, and more concerned that we are rocking the boat and we are becoming a nuisance at the UN because we are raising these issues. And I think that we need support from the Indian community here in Britain to say you are on the right tracks, because I think this is very important. We have all tried to persuade the Indian government to remedy the wrongs, but to no avail. We are aware our government has taken many steps over the years to persuade the Indian government to remedy these wrongs. We must not allow the Indian government to ignore the transfer of the Power Act 1949 to the numerous states of India. It is imperative that we support a parliamentary fact-finding mission, and unless India signs on behalf of the UN conventions, protocols against torture, death penalty, the Rome Treaty, ICC, they should not be allowed to take a permanent seat at the UN Security Council and join the civilized developing world. Our government should not support India's right to sit on the Security Council. They are not fit for purpose, in my view. it may be helpful if all the UK organisations we have worked with on the issues facing the Indian minorities work together and to strengthen our fight for rights and democracy, we should think of the way to unify our fight, which is in turn will strengthen our work and campaigns, making sure India is not left off the hook. We must not leave it to the Indian community alone. That's another problem we've got here. The fight on their own for human rights is not adequate. You need to join, and we need to join together to get the fight going. Because a lot of English people do not know about these atrocities in India, and it's up to us to win support for the campaign which has been launched by the Kesri Lehar petition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maggie. Thank you very much. And yes, you're free to go. He told me from day one, he said, Paramjit, do not worry. We're with you. We know what it is to, what abuse is, and we stand shoulder to shoulder. And he was citing things, and he knows the Guru Granth Sahib, he knows the Sikh philosophy. So we have much in common, most of all, the abuse that we face from the Indian embassy, Indian government. So please, Father Yaqub Khushi.
First of all, I would like to congratulate Kesri Lehar, those who have taken the petition of over 100,000 people. Congratulations. And this is the right time and right place here in London in the Parliament House to raise our voice regarding the violation of human rights. It's very important to be united. It's very important to support one another. It's very important to help one another. It's very important to create awareness, not here only in UK, but as well in India, because we are all interconnected with Punjab, either it's in India or it's in Punjab, in Pakistan. We have got the same roots. Therefore, it's a right time, and I appreciate and congratulate you from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of all the Christians organizations as Liberation and Ministry and Christian Solidarity. I have been speaking to the various Christian organizations and telling them, please pray for all those people who are without any cause giving their life and facing the death penalty. We are here to support you, and I am giving you the surety. Wherever you will call me to speak for human rights, I will be there. And even I will put this notice to my own bishops that I want to stand with all the Sikh communities without any differentiation, that we want to save life. Those who save friends, they save life, they are our friends. And those who kill people, they are enemy of humanity. Your enemy and my enemy as well. Therefore, I want to tell you, all of you, that we are with you and we stand by you. And when as Paramjit has said it, as soon as I received a call from him, he did not know me and I don't know about him. We talk only on the telephone. Today is the first day I saw him, how he looks like, and he saw me, how I look like. But we are one. And also I would like to tell you and share with you and all the Christian people in India, those who are persecuted and saving the caste discriminations. If we speak for them, we speak for all people. One of my friends spoke that 1.2 billion people, those who are suffering under the caste discriminations, under the poverty line, they are not living like a human being, they are living like animals. Therefore, we need to respect and create awareness to respect one another. So that is our friendship, and that is our unity, and that is our strength. Thank you very much for inviting me here and speaking with you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Father. As you expect, when you people of faith, the basic faith principle is human rights, and we stand together, we stand in solidarity. So thank you very much for your support. We're running out of time, but I think it's very, very important that in the House of Commons here, in these grand buildings, in these buildings of justice, they actually hear and they witness the abuse that is suffered by my brothers and sisters, the abuse that does not allow me sometimes to go to sleep, the abuse that has hurt me for so long. I wonder how they feel, and I'm going to ask my brother, Ranbir Singh Atwal, and followed by my sister Pritpal Kaur, to give me their own personal testimonies. And then we've got Bibi Gurneet Kaur Bains, who will be talking about the current political detainees. We've got a 13-year-old boy here called Harry. He wants to tell the parliamentarians what to do. We have got Dabinderjit Singh here. We've got Councillor Bali here. We've got Sarjeet Singh Kumman from Punjab Radio, who wants to let the government know on independent stories that are being reported. We've got Councillor and Deputy Mayor Charanjit Singh from Plymouth. I do hope that you take care of time. If I can say, we'll reduce it to about 2-3 minutes each, please, sir. Thank you. Ranbir Singh Atwal. Can I just want to, sorry, a coach announcement from
the coaches. All the Sangat are going in coaches. Can you please leave now? The coaches are here, they're saying.
Okay, the coaches are here, so I think we've got about 5 minutes. Okay.
Honourable members of Parliament, dear friends and well-wishers, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Being a Sikh by birth, my religion has taught me to enshrine, cherish and practice the characteristics of a true saint and a true soldier. Sikhs as a nation can be best described as an army of God. We believe in one God and universal brotherhood of mankind. Hence, we strongly believe in loving, caring and protecting God Almighty's creation. Our identity is distinct, but we strongly believe in equality and unity within diversity and peaceful coexistence of all communities and faiths. Sikhs, an army of God, have their presence in almost every country in the world. Sikhs have made countless sacrifices globally while championing the cause of human rights, equality and justice. Unfortunately, our unique identity and our strength to stand against injustice and inequality has over the years become the target of state oppression and state terrorism. This must stop now. In 1984 was the turning point in my life when for 3 full days and nights I witnessed the death of civilization, the carnage of human rights, the demise of democracy, the destruction of sovereignty, the murder of secularism, the demolition of society, and the liquidation of the justice system. 3,000 innocent Sikhs, these are official figures. The real figures are much higher and unknown, were killed mercilessly in broad daylight with the assistance of full state powers in the capital of a so-called democratic, secular, socialist, sovereign Republic of India. I escaped death 7 times, in those 3 days. Why? Simply because of my Sikh identity. It was a genocide of Sikhs and genocide of human rights. Sikhs represent only 2% of Indian population. 70% of these are settled in Punjab and leaving a very small minority in other states outside Punjab. In June 1984, Punjab was treated like an enemy territory, and full military force was used to oppress Sikhs by simultaneously attacking our highest spiritual and temporal authority, Shri Akal Takht Sahib, along with several other Sikh gurdwaras, Sikh temples. There's no justification for these state-led operations, using blind force with impunity and resulting in countless casualties, mostly innocent Sikhs. In November 1984, none of these forces were used to protect a very small minority of Sikhs living outside Punjab. Corrupt and criminal rulers of India, both at the state and central level, planned and organized crimes against Sikh minority. Mobs of criminal gangsters were given guidance, instructions, plans, unlimited resources, and state protection of every kind with the sole aim of eliminating our Sikh community. God save me for this day. I humbly request the international humanitarians to step in and bring the criminal rulers of India to justice. It's not only happening to the Sikh minority, it is happening to all minorities in India. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Justice delayed is justice denied. 28 years of delay implies no justice for minorities in India. If it can happen to Sikhs, it can happen to any community in India. If you don't see God in all, you don't see God at all. Sikhs are well known and respected amongst all communities for their philanthropic characteristics. Masses in India and abroad are unaware of the scale of sufferings and losses of lives of Sikhs perpetrated by the criminal rulers of India under false pretenses. In 1984, we lacked independent media. Now, with the help of Sangat TV and other Western and international media, I hope that Kesri Lehar, the way for justice, will move the masses to wipe out these animal and criminal instincts disguised as human beings. The question remains, how do you justify the killing of thousands of innocent Sikhs? Where is the closure and reconciliation process to ensure that the rights of minorities and a common man are protected in India and worldwide? Kesri Lehar, the way for justice, will keep searching for the answer relentlessly. The answer lies in the mass movement, and I wish to thank the British members of Parliament for supporting Kesri Lehar and raising awareness. It is time to clarify our stand. It's time to save the voice of justice. It's time to save Bhai Balwant Singh Rajwana and thousands of other silent voices. Rise, roar, and rule. Sikhs in their purest form are called Khalsa. Raj Karega Khalsa, Bole So Nihal, Sat Shri Akal. Nanak Naam Chaddi Kala, Tere Pane Sarvat Da Pala. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
I'd just like to let those that don't know, this is an eyewitness account. This is an eyewitness account of a professional accountant here in the United Kingdom, a respectable member of our society, the director of Sangat Television, and there are so many others like him whose names we do not know. And it's the eyewitness accounts, I think, before we close, John will, as the chair of the meeting today, will close. But we've got, who can forget Jaswant Singh Kalra? Amarjit Singh is here to represent him. I'm sad if he doesn't get time here today. Balbir Singh from SOPW, he's a victim here. But I'd like to call Pritpal Kaur first, Apanji, because I think I haven't done it deliberately. We have our sisters here, and the number of emails, the number of petitions that they have signed is, I think, 50%, if not more, input into this. And I just wish that for the next meeting, we have one of our sisters here chairing it, because I'm not a public speaker, and I'll say my apologies now. Lots of mistakes, I'm not professional, and I don't claim to be, and I don't think it matters. Here you go.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਨਾ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਕੁਝ ਲਿਖਿਆ, ਨਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਕੋਈ ਕਹਾਣੀ। ਮੈਂ ਤੇ ਉਹੀ ਸੁਣਾਣੀ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਬੀਤਿਆ। ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਮੇਰੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੱਕ ਨਾ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਪਾਏ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਦਿਲ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਭਰਿਆ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਰੇਡੀਓ 'ਤੇ ਵੀ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਤੂੰ ਆਪ ਬੀਤੀ ਸੁਣਾਈ, ਪਰ ਮੈਥੋਂ ਸੁਣਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਬਚਪਨ ਤੋਂ ਮਾਪੇ ਤੋਂ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ 47 ਦੀ ਕਹਾਣੀ। ਤਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਕਸੂਰਵਾਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਨੂੰ ਮੰਨਿਆ ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਰੂਲ ਐਂਡ ਡਿਵਾਈਡ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਕੀਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ 47 ਦਾ ਕਾਂਡ ਹੋਇਆ। ਪਰ ਕੀ ਮੈਂ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੀ ਹਾਂ 1984 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਦੇ ਹੀ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਕਿਉਂ ਤਬਾਹ ਹੋਏ? ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਸੀ। ਸਵੇਰ ਦੀ ਸੈਰ ਹੋਈ, ਉੱਠੀ, ਸੈਰ ਕਰਨ ਗਈ, ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਸੀ ਅਗਲੇ ਪਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ। ਨਾਲ ਦੇ ਪੜੋਸੀ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਤੂੰ ਕਿਉਂ ਘਰੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਨਿਕਲੀ ਆ? ਮੈਂ, ਮੇਰੀ ਛੋਟੀ ਭੈਣ, ਮੇਰੀ ਨਿੱਕੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਭਤੀਜੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿਉਂ? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਰਦਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਤਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਪਏ, ਤਬਾਹ ਕਰਦੇ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਕਦੀ ਹੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ, ਸਾਡਾ ਘਰ ਹੈ ਇੰਡੀਆ, ਸਾਡਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਘਰ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਮੁਲਕ ਹੈ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਘਰ ਜਾਓ। ਘਰ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ, ਹਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਤਾਦਾਦ 'ਚ ਮੋਬ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ, ਅੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ। ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਪੂਰੇ ਉਹ ਸੀਨ ਮੇਰੀ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ। ਸਾੜ ਦਿਓ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਫੂਕ ਦਿਓ, ਸਾਡੀ ਮਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ। ਕਿਹਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਸੀ? ਕੌਣ ਸੀ ਵਿੱਚ? ਕਿਹੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਕਿਹੜਾ ਸੀ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ, ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਯਾਦ ਨਹੀਂ। 19 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦੀ ਉਮਰ ਦੇ ਬਾਵਜੂਦ ਸਿਰਫ ਇੱਕੋ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ ਗੱਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਗੁਨਾਹ ਕੀਤਾ। ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਡੀਗਾਰਡ ਬਣੇ, ਉਹਦੀ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਕੀਤੀ, ਹਰ ਵੇਲੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਹੇ, ਸਾਜ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਸਿੱਖ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਹੇ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਜਣੇ। ਅੱਜ ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਇਲਜ਼ਾਮ। ਉਸੇ ਦੀ ਕੌਮ ਨੂੰ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹ ਲੋਕ ਤਬਾਹੀ ਮਚਾਈ, ਪੂਰੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬਰਬਾਦ ਕੀਤਾ, ਘਰ ਛੱਡਤੇ। ਇੱਕ ਮੁਸਲਿਮ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਚਾਇਆ, ਮੇਰੇ ਫਾਦਰ ਨੂੰ ਬਚਾਇਆ, ਮੇਰੇ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਨੂੰ ਬਚਾ ਕੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਰੱਖਿਆ। 3 ਦਿਨ ਤੱਕ 1.5 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਭਤੀਜੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਦੁੱਧ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਤੋਂ ਰਹੀ। ਕੀ ਮੈਂ ਭੁੱਲ ਸਕਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਦਿਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣਨ ਵਾਲੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣ ਕੇ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਸੋਚੋ ਕਿ ਜਦ ਮੇਰੇ 'ਤੇ ਬੀਤਿਆ ਸੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਕੀ ਹਾਲ ਹੋਇਆ। ਇੱਕ ਇੱਕ ਪਲ, ਇੱਕ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ, ਇੱਕ ਇੱਕ ਘੜੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਹੈ। 2 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਦੀ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਸਿਸਟਰ ਬੁਰਕਾ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਘਰ ਆਈ, ਨਾਲ ਉਹਦੀ ਸੱਸ। ਕੱਲਾ ਕੱਲਾ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ, ਗਲ 'ਚ ਟਾਇਰ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਸਾੜਤਾ। ਸਿਰਫ ਪੌਣੇ 2 ਸਾਲ ਵਿਆਹ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ। ਟਾਇਰ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਸਾੜਿਆ ਔਰ ਪੇੜ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬੰਨ ਕੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਗੋਲੀ ਪੈਰ 'ਚ ਮਾਰੋ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁਣ ਕਰ ਭੰਗੜਾ। ਪਹਿਲੀ ਪੈਰ 'ਤੇ ਗੋਲੀ ਮਾਰੀ, ਅੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ। ਪੌਣੇ 2 ਸਾਲ ਵਿਆਹ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ। ਸਿਸਟਰ ਨੂੰ ਪੂਰੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤਬਾਹ ਕਰਤਾ। ਉਹ ਵਿਚਾਰੀਆਂ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਾਨ ਬਚਾ ਕੇ ਆਈਆਂ, ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੱਸ ਸਕਦੀ, ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ। ਬਸ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਏ, ਇੱਕ ਅਰਦਾਸ, ਇੱਕ ਅਰਜ਼ੋਈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਗਰ ਹੋ ਸਕੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਗੁਨਾਹਗਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਜ਼ਾ ਦਿਲਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਥ ਦਿਓ, ਆਪਣੀ ਕੌਮ ਦਾ ਸਾਥ ਦਿਓ। ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਰਲ ਕੇ ਘੱਟੋ ਘੱਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਵਰਗਾਂ 'ਚ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਤਮਾ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਤੇ ਤਾਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ ਕਿ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਸਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਕੋਈ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਿਨਨੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੱਧ ਕੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਨਸਾਫ ਮੰਗਿਆ। ਹੋਰ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹਤੀ ਵੀਰੋ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ।
Just for our non-Punjabi speakers, Panji, Prithpal Kaur said that she got up one day, went for a walk as she would normally in India, and she found that 1,000-strong mob was coming towards her. They asked her to leave, and she said, India is my home, so where do I leave to? They killed her mother. She's asking, what have I done wrong? They burnt her house down. Her 1.5-year-old niece was left without milk and water, the basic essentials for a young baby, for 3 days. They shot her brother-in-law in the foot, and they asked him to do pangra. Now, these are first-hand accounts of people. We have many here today. We have even more in the 118,000-strong petitioners. They've had to flee the homeland. We're running out of time. I'm very sorry. We've got 5 minutes. I've got a long list of speakers. I would ask for all speakers to keep it short. Is the young 13-year-old Harry here? Harry? I think we need to include the young. So if you come out here, and I think it was going to make a plea to the MPs, and then John MacDonald, Right Honourable John MacDonald, will sum up the meeting. And okay, Harry, you want to stand there and do it? Okay.
Yeah.
Ashwa, and by the way, this is not going to be the last meeting. This is only a start. So all my brothers and sisters, we need to put the facts before the MPs. Do start collating them.
In 2009, the Russian lawyer Sergei Magnitsky was investigating corruption in Russia, died in jail. It is alleged he was tortured but refused to sign a false confession. He was 38 years old and left 2 daughters. Who in India's history does this remind you of? Guru Arjan Dev Ji, Tegh Bahadur, Fateh, or Zorawar Singh? All these heroes died but never denied the truth. Last Thursday, directly inspired by the moral courage of Magnitsky, the US Congress passed a bill not to allow corrupt Russian officials entry into the US or do any business or hold any property in the US. This is a clear message that the human rights abusers from Russia are not welcome in the USA. Here is in the UK, MPs from all parties have signed a motion asking the US government to do the same thing here. However, the Foreign Office has said this move will harm relations with Russia. I have a letter here where the UK Home Office could not even confirm if Olympic visas for human rights abusers KPS Gill was actually refused. I'll let you decide if that is right and proper when you vote in the next election. 20 years ago to this very week, my dad and grandmother landed in New Delhi for one last holiday together. My grandma had been diagnosed with cancer. They landed on the day that the Babri Mosque was destroyed by mobs and zealots. Riots followed. Thousands were murdered in cold blood. Innocent Indians were taken out of trains and beaten to death just because they were a different religion. Where was the army? India spends double the percentage budget on defence than the UK. The state let the people down, just like it let down the Sikh minority in 1984, where we know thousands perished, not the few thousand quoted by Indian authorities. This is a shameful stain on the world's largest democracy, a supposedly secular country whose freedom was won by the freedom fighters and Mahatma Gandhi, who, if he had not been cremated, would be turning in his grave. The same kind of extremism that killed Mahatma Gandhi is now killing India. They call themselves a superpower, but with 40% of Indians paying bribes to get public jobs and 30% living below the international poverty line, I say India is morally bankrupt. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. John,
we're just closing the meeting now, but we've been trying to ensure that as many MPs come along and speak as possible. Mike Gapes, the MP, has just joined us, so I'd be grateful if he could just say a few words of support. Mike? Come here to the TV.
Okay. Sorry. Thanks, John. Apologies, I had a lot of other meetings today. This is a very important day because it's United Nations Human Rights Day, and there are lots of different events taking place, both here in Parliament and all around the world. And one of the reasons for fighting for human rights is that human rights are universal. They apply everywhere, in all countries, to all peoples, men and women, regardless of religion, regardless of colour, regardless of class, regardless of origin. We all have human rights. And it's very important that we uphold those rights universally. And one of the rights that is upheld by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is the right to life, and that is one reason why I oppose the death penalty and why I am pressing and have signed the early day motion, along with many others of my parliamentary colleagues, that India and other countries should stop having a death penalty. And so that's briefly all I want to say today. I don't want to delay your meeting. Thank you for letting me say a few words.
Right. Let's just explain in 30 seconds what's happened today. This is a historic event. You'll be able to tell your children and your grandchildren that you were here on the first day that the Sikh and the Punjabi community came to Parliament on the International Human Rights Day. It's never been done before. On this day, and demanded what? What did we demand? We demand justice. Justice. First of all, the ending of the death penalty, the ending of the abuse of human rights, but actually also basically what we all deserve, which is respect. Respect for our views, respect for our culture, and respect for our dignity and our human lives. That's what this day was all about. The Kesri Lehar petition, when it was first thought of, was about, yes, ending the death penalty. It was about the problems within the Punjab, historic and current. But they actually opened up then to others and saying there's not just us who are affected now, it's others, Dalits, others right the way across India. And it's been an inclusive campaign. This is not some sectarian campaign or some individual group. It's actually opened up to everybody. And people have poured out. You've seen it today, from all walks of life and all different backgrounds. So I think today has been a tremendous success. As the first step, we've presented the petition to number 10 Downing Street. We're going to roll the petition into presentations in Parliament as a formal petition as well, to highlight the publicity. We're trying to seek a debate, a full debate in Parliament in the new year. And then there will be further lobbies throughout the new year until we convince the UK government to act more forcefully with regards to its relationship with India, to ensure that India lives up to, well, its reputation that it's seeking to develop as a modern superpower, a country which should be acknowledging international conventions and international treaties. That's our objective. We want to make sure we mobilise public opinion here on the UK government. The UK government is then mobilised to put pressure on India, and then India then is brought into the line with the other civilised countries around the world. It's a very simple strategy, but it will require the commitment of all of us. And what has been fantastic, we should applaud all those who have been involved in the initial organisation of this. Applaud all those who have gone out and got the petition signed, men and women and young people. But what it was about, it was very important that we ended up with the final two speakers, really, were first of all a victim who witnessed what was happening, and then a young person who's going to take this campaign for the future. Because we want to ensure that this campaign is not a one-off event, it's a successful start to the ultimate demand, which is justice. Thanks for coming today. It's been a tremendous success.
Can we all rise for John, please?